All right, I'm going to be discussing the research outline that I made of the basic article, the matching and non-matching to sample concept learning in rats using olfactory stimuli. I just focused on the first experiment. So the research problem that was of this particular experiment was that there was a lot of non-human testing on matching and non-matching to sample. So a lot of the time they used visual stimuli for that. So this experiment is just focusing on olfactory stimuli instead. So there were 7 rats who ranged from 90 days old to 150 days old, and there was an operant chamber in which they conducted the experiments in, and the operant chamber had a small hole where it fit a tray with 3 cups, which would eventually be for the sample cup and the 2 distractor cups. So the targeted behavior of the study was to match or to non-match to a sample cup of sand containing a sucrose pellet. So the operational definition that they provided for that was it's any response that was when the rat's paw or nose made contact with the sand in a cup in such a way that the sand was displaced. The cups were distributed to the rats first in a baseline kind of way. I wouldn't say it's exactly baseline, but it was shaping. So the rats were given first just an empty cup with the sucrose pellet in it. Then they were given a cup with the scented sand inside, and then the sucrose pellet was placed right on top. And they would continue giving the cup with the sucrose pellet, except they would bury it a little bit deeper into the sand until I believe it reached 1 centimeter beneath the surface. So the independent variable that they were using were the comparison cups. So there was 1 sample cup which had the scented sand, in which they were supposed to match to, and then there was 1 cup, 1 comparison cup which had a different scent, and there was a second comparison cup which had the same scent as the sample cup. So if they were to match, they would match to the comparison cup with the same smell, and if they were to non-match, they would match the cup with the distractor smell. So the independent variable was systematically controlled by the experimenter. Next I just went over the procedures, which was the baseline phase, the shaping phase, which I mentioned earlier, and then there was a couple of phases that they went through. So phase 1 had 25 sessions. And in order to move on to phase 2, the rats had to have 2 consecutive sessions at 90% correct or better. So in phase 1, the rat was randomly given a set of 5 scents. In this experiment, there was 3 different sets of scents. So in phase 1, they got the first set, and then once mastered, they moved on to phase 2, and the rat was randomly again given a second set of the scents. And the same criteria was given, but only there was 15 sessions instead of 25. And then finally, there was the reversal phase. So the reversal phase, they would use the 3rd random set of 5 different scents. And the point of the reversal phase was to see, so if the rat started out matching for phase 1 and phase 2, for the reversal phase, they would non-match, and vice versa. So if the rat started out non-matching for phase 1 and phase 2, the reversal phase would be matching. So the results of this experiment for matching, the rats who performed matching in phases 1 and 2, for phase 1, 3 of the rats showed correct matching in the beginning, and then phase 2, the rats showed very high levels, even starting in the first trials, and in the reversal phase, there was a significant drop in the responses, correct in the number of sessions, and it showed strong evidence for the transfer of matching to sample. For the rats who started out as non-matching for phases 1 and 2, out of the 3 rats in phase 1, 1 required more training to move on to the next phase. And then in phase 2, they all showed again high levels of correctly responding. And during the reversal phase for this, initially the rats performed poorly, and that had given evidence to show a positive bias. So I believe that this study was conducted very well. There was a clear mention of the goals and why they were using the specific olfactory stimuli that they chose. The methods were explained with replicable precision. And the operational definitions were clearly stated, and the criteria to move on in the experiment were laid out very precisely.